The smell of burnt candles and silence hit me at the same time. It was 8:12 a.m., my 21st birthday, and the house was too quiet for a celebration. The happy birthday banner I hung last night was gone. So were the balloons. Even the cake I'd baked, half vanilla, half chocolate because Mom said it was less childish that way, had vanished from the counter. Only a few crumbs and a knife left behind. "Mom," I called out. Nothing. "Dad." Silence. Their cars weren't in the driveway. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation. Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. The garage door was wide open. Then I saw it, a printed boarding pass on the kitchen counter. Miami. Departed 6 a.m. I stared at it, reading my mom's scrawled note underneath. "Don't wait up, sweetie. We needed a break. You understand." Understand? I had texted her last night asking if we could have breakfast together before she went to her yoga class. She never replied. Now I knew why. I stood in the middle of the living room, surrounded by emptiness. No happy birthday, no hugs, no laughter. Just that awful quiet that rings louder than any argument. My phone buzzed once. For a second, I thought maybe they remembered. But it was just a bank notification, my part-time paycheck from the cafe. $62. I looked at the screen until my vision blurred. Then I laughed short, hollow, and strange, because what else do you do when your own family decides your birthday isn't worth waking up for? I didn't post about it. I didn't call anyone. Instead, I opened my laptop. For years, I'd saved every digital design I'd ever made. The ones my dad called cute little doodles. The ones my sister said would never pay a single bill. I spent the next 4 hours setting up an online store. By noon, it was live. By evening, I had my first sale. It wasn't about the money. It was about control. About not waiting for people who could fly to Miami while pretending I didn't exist. That night, I turned off my phone, stood by the window, and whispered, 5 days. That's all you get. My reflection in the glass didn't look like a forgotten daughter anymore. It looked like someone planning something. Someone finally done being quiet. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Something in me had changed overnight. The silence that used to sting now felt like space I could finally breathe in. I brewed coffee in the old chipped mug my sister once mocked me for, the one that said "Dream Bigger." I smiled at it now. "Fine," I whispered. Challenge accepted. The first thing I did was grab a yellow notepad and write down everything my family had ever made me feel small for: my art, my independence, my silence. Then I flipped the page and started a new list: action. At the top, I wrote in bold, "Don't get angry. Get strategic." By 8 a.m., I was making calls. First, to the landlord, the same man my dad often boasted to about his family investments. "Hi, this is Lila Carter," I said calmly. "You might want to check the automatic payments on my parents' property. The account you've been charging is under my name, not theirs." There was a long pause, then a quiet, "Oh." Next, I called the credit company. "Hi, yes, I need to close a few authorized user accounts, my parents' and my sister's. They've been using my credit line without consent." The woman on the other end asked if I was sure. I smiled. Very. For the first time, I didn't tremble while saying it. By noon, their safety net started unraveling. Quietly, neatly, without me ever raising my voice. Then came step 2, building mine. I walked downtown that afternoon, wind in my hair, determination in every step. There was a co-working studio I'd seen online, bright glass windows, modern desks, people hustling with coffee cups and headphones. I walked in, rented a small corner space, and set up my laptop. My online store from last night already had 10 new orders. 10. From strangers who saw value in something my own family mocked. Each, "You made a sale," notification that popped up on my screen felt like oxygen. I designed through the day, posters, prints, typography art, all carrying messages I needed to hear. You're not invisible. Silence is power. Don't chase people. Build things. It was cathartic, like therapy with color and shape instead of words. By evening, I uploaded a short post to social media, not about my family, not about revenge, but about art. Started something new today. It's small, but it's mine. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't name names. But somehow people noticed. Old classmates, co-workers, even my former art teacher left a comment. "Proud of you, Lila. Always knew you had it in you." That single comment meant more than any happy birthday my family could have sent. Day 2 turned into day 3, and momentum built faster than I expected. Orders doubled, then tripled. I was barely sleeping, barely eating, just designing, packing, printing. My little corner at the co-working space became my world. On the 3rd evening, as I walked home, I passed a boutique window. Behind the glass, a local artist's prints were displayed, bright, bold, emotional. My reflection in the glass stopped me. I wasn't the same quiet girl who baked her own cake and waited for attention that never came. I walked inside. The manager, a middle-aged woman with silver hair, looked up. "Can I help you?" "Maybe," I said with a nervous smile. "I'm an artist. I sell prints online. Would you ever consider showcasing new work?" She hesitated. "Do you have samples?" I showed her my tablet, a few of my most popular designs. She stared at them for a long moment, then looked at me. "These are good. Really good. You made these yourself?" "Yes." She smiled softly. "Bring me 10 framed copies tomorrow. Let's test them for a week." I nodded, trying not to cry. "Thank you." "Don't thank me," she said. "Thank yourself. You believed in you. That's rare." I walked home in the cool evening air, my heart pounding. That night, I checked my family social media again. My mom had posted another picture, poolside, cocktail in hand. Caption: "Sun, peace, and freedom from stress." I stared at the photo for a long time, then whispered, "Enjoy it while it lasts." Because she didn't know that every credit card she used that week would soon stop working. Every payment she'd made through my accounts would bounce. They thought I'd sit home and cry. Instead, I was rebuilding my life piece by piece, and they'd feel the shift the moment they stepped back through that front door. For the first time in my life, I wasn't reacting. I was directing. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to post. They'd see what silence can do. By the end of that week, I stood on my new apartment balcony, just across the street from the house that once held every piece of my pain. From there, I could see the faint outline of my old bedroom window. I smiled. "You left me behind," I whispered. So, I built something ahead. 5 days. That's all I'd given them. And when they came back, they wouldn't just find a missing daughter. They'd find a storm in heels, with paperwork, plans, and peace on her side. I wasn't their burden anymore. I was their reminder that the quiet ones remember everything. The sound of tires crunching over the gravel hit my ears before I even looked up. 5 days. Right on schedule. I stood by the tall window of my new apartment across the street, coffee in hand, watching their shiny black SUV pull into the driveway. The same one Dad had bragged about leasing because image matters. Mom stepped out first, dressed in a flowy floral jumpsuit that screamed Miami money. Her skin glowed. Her sunglasses reflected everything but guilt. Then came Dad, tapping his phone, already yelling about something business-related. My sister Chloe followed, dragging two massive pink suitcases behind her like she was stepping off a runway instead of into reality. "Lila," Mom called out the second she opened the front door. "We're home." Her voice bounced off empty walls. The furniture, gone. TV, gone. Framed family photos, replaced by a note, taped perfectly in the center of the living room wall. It said, in clean handwriting, "Welcome home. Hope Miami was worth it. Al." Mom's voice went sharp. "What in the world, Robert?" Dad dropped his phone. "Where's the couch? Where's the wait? Where's my safe?" Chloe came running down the stairs, panic in her tone. "Mom, my laptop, my jewelry, it's all gone." I took another sip of coffee, calm, watching, waiting. From my vantage point across the street, I could see them scattering around like ants whose nest had been kicked. Mom's voice cracked. Dad's face turned red. Chloe stood frozen, mouth hanging open. I told myself I wouldn't enjoy it, but I did. Not because I wanted revenge, but because this was the first time they actually noticed the silence they'd left behind. Within 10 minutes, Mom stormed outside, heels clicking against the pavement. She looked around, then spotted me, through the glass balcony doors of my new apartment. Her eyes widened. She recognized the furniture inside, their furniture. The marble coffee table, the beige sectional, even the vase from the foyer, all neatly arranged behind me. I didn't flinch. I simply waved. She froze mid-step, then crossed the street like a storm in heels. When the elevator dinged, I was already waiting at the door. The moment it opened, Mom burst in, eyes wide with fury. "What did you do, Lila?" I tilted my head. "What I always do, Mom. I cleaned up your mess." "Don't play games with me." Her voice was shaking now. "That furniture, that safe, those accounts, those were ours." I met her gaze calmly. "No, Mom. They were mine. You used my name for your bills, remember? My signature on your credit extensions. My approval for that family business account you all loved spending from. I just took back what legally belonged to me." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. "Besides," I continued, leaning against the counter, "you said you needed peace and quiet. So I gave you both." She blinked, disbelief mixing with panic. "You're being dramatic, Lila. We just went away for a few days." "On my birthday." I cut in softly. "You left before sunrise. No message, no call, not even a note. Just that one on the fridge. Be good." The silence that followed was heavy. For once, my mother didn't have a comeback. Behind her, the elevator dinged again. Dad stepped out, face red, veins tight in his neck. "What's going on here?" he barked. "You think this is funny, Lila? You could have cost me thousands." "I already did," I said plainly. "Your business payments were set up under my authorization. I canceled them. Maybe next time don't register your fake LLC using your daughter's social security number." He went pale. "Relax," I added with a faint smile. "I didn't report it. Yet." His mouth opened, but words failed him. Chloe stood behind him, quiet for once. Her expression wasn't angry. It was scared. Not of me, but of realization. "Lila," she whispered. You actually moved out? I nodded. Moved out. Moved up. Built something. All while you were in Miami, posting pictures about peace and quiet. She swallowed hard, glancing at Mom and Dad, both speechless now. Mom tried to pull herself together, her tone softening in desperation. Honey, we didn't mean to hurt you. We needed time. To forget I existed? I asked, voice trembling for the first time. You always needed time when I graduated, when I got that art scholarship, when I begged for help to pay tuition. Every time it mattered. You were somewhere else. You always said I'd understand one day. Her eyes filled with tears. Lila, please. No, I said firmly. You don't get to cry before I do. That line hit like a strike of lightning. Even Dad stepped back. For a few seconds, the only sound in the room was the faint hum of the city outside. Then I sighed, walked to the window, and looked out at our old house, their house now. Dark, empty, powerless in every way. You left me alone on my 21st birthday, I said quietly. But that wasn't your worst mistake. Your worst mistake was teaching me how to survive without you. Mom whispered my name, her voice breaking. Lila, please, we can fix this. I turned back to her, calm. You can start by learning how to knock before entering someone else's home. This isn't yours anymore. Her jaw trembled. Dad looked defeated. Chloe just nodded faintly, understanding too late. As they left, I closed the door gently, no slamming, no shouting. Just silence. The kind of silence that finally belonged to me. That night, from my balcony, I watched them sitting in the darkened living room of their now furnitureless home. Their power had been shut off hours ago. The same kind of darkness they once left me in. But I didn't feel hate, just peace. The quiet kind that comes after a storm you didn't start, but finished with precision. For the first time, I didn't need an apology. They were already living it. By morning, their house across the street was silent again. Not the comfortable kind of silence, but the kind that sinks deep, heavy, and real. I stood on my balcony, coffee in hand, watching the curtains barely move. I could picture it inside. Dad pacing, Mom staring at her dead phone, Chloe quiet for once. The same three people who once told me I'd never survive on my own. Now I was living proof that I could. That afternoon, as I packed new orders for my store, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Lila, it's Mom. We're sorry. Can we talk? For a moment, I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to delete it. The other part, the part that still remembered staying up every night waiting for their approval, couldn't. I typed slowly. Come to the cafe at 4. Just you. The small cafe downtown was warm and golden, filled with soft jazz and the smell of vanilla. I sat by the window, watching rain tap gently against the glass. When she walked in, she looked different. Not the perfect, unbothered woman from Miami photos, but someone carrying the weight of regret. She sat across from me quietly. Lila, she said softly, I don't even know where to start. Start with why, I said, my tone steady. She exhaled. Your father and I, we thought we were giving you space. You were always so independent, so quiet. I thought you didn't need us anymore. I stared at her. That's the thing, Mom. I never stopped needing family. I just stopped begging for it. Tears gathered in her eyes. I know. And I hate that you had to teach me that lesson this way. For the first time, she didn't sound defensive. Just human. I looked down at my coffee, then back at her. You didn't just forget my birthday. You forgot that I existed in your world. I had to build my own. She reached across the table slowly, hesitantly. And you built it beautifully. I saw your website. I saw your store. I didn't realize how talented you were. Her voice cracked when she said it, not out of pride, but guilt. I didn't cry. Not this time. I just said, I didn't do it to prove you wrong. I did it because I finally stopped waiting for someone to prove me right. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I want to make things right. Please come home. I smiled faintly. Home? Mom, that house stopped being home the moment you left without saying goodbye. But we can build something new, if you mean it. She nodded again, her tears falling freely this time. I do, honey. I mean it. For the first time in years, I reached forward and held her hand. Her grip was shaky, but it was real. That night, I stood on my balcony again. Across the street, their lights were back on. Not because I restored their power, but because I told them where the missing payments were, how to fix what they'd broken. It wasn't revenge anymore. It was release. I had my own apartment, my own business, my own peace. I'd found freedom not by hurting them, but by learning that silence doesn't mean weakness. It means control. The same house that once defined my loneliness now served as a reminder of what I'd overcome. I whispered into the night, I'm not the forgotten one anymore. The wind carried the words softly across the street, back to where it all started.